Welcome back to EZMotoTim. In this video, we'll look at how to import Google Maps into BaseCamp and explore the differences between tracks and routes. One of my subscribers asked me to explain how to import a Google map into BaseCamp. Other subscribers and I have had a discussion about the differences between tracks and routes and how to use them. We'll have a look at Google My Maps and export a route stored there. Then we'll import the Google route to BaseCamp and convert it from a track to a route. Before we get started, I want you to know that I'm not familiar with handheld GPS devices used for hiking and other off-road activities. I believe those devices make use of tracks more than GPS is used for driving and motorcycling. If you have a handheld device, leave a comment and let others know if the information on tracks and routes is helpful or relevant. Here are some key points motorcyclists will want to remember. Tracks are for displaying where you've been. Routes are for where you want to go. Google Maps and BaseCamp maps are not the same. A Google Route KML file contains tracks and waypoints. I have a lot of material to cover here. This video is going to be longer than ones I usually make. I suggest you watch all the way through and bookmark this video so you can return to it when you sit down to apply the concepts. For now, just lean forward in your chair and follow along. Here we are in Google My Maps. I'm signed into my account and I'm on the Not Owned page. These routes were shared by the organizer of a rally 3 years ago. There are various routes in western North Carolina. The advantage of Google Maps is that they are easy to create and easy to share with others. They can be used on your phone to guide you along the route, which is great if you have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. As you know, because you have a Garmin GPS, using a phone for a GPS on a motorcycle has some significant disadvantages. This is the route that I'm interested in. I'm going to click on the route, which opens it up into a detail. And it goes from Harley-Davidson of Asheville over a bunch of back roads down the Blue Ridge Parkway to the Chestnut Tree Inn in Cherokee, where we stayed. I'm going to click on the 3 dots and then download KML, and I want to export KML instead of KMZ. KMZ file contains the track and it contains icons. We're not interested in the icons, so we'll just click KML, then click OK. And it will download and be in your downloads directory. I'll then move it to our working directory. All right, we're in BaseCamp. I'm using the database I use for YouTube projects. I've created a folder called Google, and under it I created a list called Tracks and Routes. Now in that list I've created a couple of waypoints. I created those so I could easily get to those points on the map. There are some problem areas. So let's show on map, and I'll show you what I mean. The route is going to go up along this unpaved section, and we will see how that unpaved section can cause us some problems. The other problem area over here is the jug handle of this intersection. We'll see some difficulties there. Next, I want you to go to Edit, Options, and Activity Profile section and look at the Routing tab that we have set up for motorcycling. I want you to look at how you have set up your preferences, and remember that in most cases when changing a track to a route, these avoidances and preferences will be followed. Not always, as we'll see, but you need to know what it is that you set up. And we can also look at direct activity profile. Notice all of this is grayed out. There's nothing you can change here. Direct routing is just a straight line from waypoint to waypoint to waypoint. All right, we'll go back to motorcycling and close that. Okay, with the list highlighted, I'm going to now import file, import the KML file that we downloaded from Google. Here it is with the two footprints. That's a track, and the two waypoints, the beginning and the ending point. It's in gray, so let's open this and change the color to red so it's easier to see, and we'll do show on map. So there's our track. All right, I want to open the detail again and look at the list and some of the details here. So we have in the summary 6,775 points, and the track is 167 miles long. Here in the list are those 6,775 points. They are numbered, so they're in order. Here's the position, the geographical position. There's no elevation information, but each leg is length is listed and the direction of that leg is noted. That helps the map and the GPS to draw the lines. So let's zoom in on our track and go to the first area where the unpaved section is. And I'm going to click on the route so that it's active and then zoom in. Now, it's difficult probably for you to see, but there are little black dots along the way. Those are track points. And you notice that straight lines are drawn from each point to point. Also, notice that they're not on the road. That's because the Google map and the BaseCamp maps are not the same maps. Now, you can manipulate a track the same way as you can with a route. You can hold the Alt key and drag it. That will put an additional point into the route because it just draws straight lines. And with the move point icon highlighted, you can move a point, just like you can move waypoints in routes. Now that we've seen a track, we need to better understand what it is. A track is a list of geographical locations to be displayed in order without regard to the underlying terrain. Now, besides latitude and longitude, a track file can contain additional information such as elevation, direction, speed, and icons. But for clarity, just think of a track as an ordered list of geographical points. Mapping software, whether it's on a computer or a GPS, draws straight lines connecting the points. It doesn't matter whether the points are on roads, over water, or on a mountaintop. Here's an example of a track drawn from point to point to point. How is a route different from a track? A route is a list of geographical locations to be displayed in order, connected by lines that follow pathways along a routable map. Let's read that again. A route is a list of geographical locations to be displayed in order, connected by lines. That's just like a track. So what's the difference? The lines have to follow pathways on a routable map. What's a routable map? A routable map is a map that contains pathways. Lines drawn between points follow along the pathways. Pathways are usually roads, but aeronautical charts have air routes, marine maps have shipping channels, and hiking maps have trails as pathways. Using our example, the route is drawn from point to point to point, following along the path, which is a road. Now we want our Google track to become a route, because we want our GPS to guide us along roads. First, look at your activity profile. We have motorcycling selected. I'll open the track. I've changed its name to simply track. And there are two ways to create a route. The first is to click this button called Create Route. The other is to right-click on the track and say Create Route from the selected track, and it will begin working. Okay, it's finished its work, and we have our route on the screen. I'm going to open up the route and change its name to Route Motorcycle, because we had the motorcycle profile and we did create. And I'm going to change it to blue. Now look what happened here. There are two waypoints, the beginning and the end points, and there are 40 points, 2 via points which are visible and 40 hidden points. Those hidden points help us to draw the route on the screen. But they're not waypoints. So let's look at what happened here. We'll look at our first trouble area, and I'll highlight the route. Notice, I'll zoom in, that it followed the road, but it went through this unpaved section. That's because those points that are hidden told the map to draw along that path. And let's go to our second trouble area and see what happened there. Instead of going up and around the jug handle, it got off on the ramp and made a left turn. Well, it went right for some reason, then a U-turn, and went on down. So it's a little different from what we expected. What is going to happen if we go off this route? Let's pretend that there's a gas station here. We'll make a waypoint and pretend that that's a gas station. If your GPS is in automatic recalculate, or if you say yes to manually recalculate, the GPS will calculate a new route, and it will go from where you are to your destination. So it will go from our gas station to the hotel, which is our ultimate destination. Let's simulate what the GPS will do. We'll go from where we are to our destination and create the route. it's going to create a route from here to there directly. It will not go up along these hidden points. It calculates from waypoint to waypoint. So we need more waypoints in our route so that we can go from where we are up to the next waypoint. How do we create a route with more waypoints? Well, first of all, go up to your activity profile and change it to direct. Then right-click on your track and create route from the track. Now you get this dialog box only if you're in direct mode. And we can choose to automatically have the number of points selected as waypoints, or we could unclick that and manually put in a number on our own. I'm going to first do automatic mode. Click OK. Now it has created the route. Let's open it and call it route direct profile automatic. And I'm going to change the color to green. And what has it done? It has picked 1,330 of those track points and made them waypoints. There's one more step, and that's to change the profile, activity profile of this route to motorcycle. It will recalculate. All right, it finished recalculating. When we changed the profile from direct to motorcycling, there are still 1,330 waypoints, but it added more hidden points. There's 2,672. Okay, let's look at our problem areas. Let's go to number 1 and highlight the route. And you can see in the black dots, I think, the black dots are the track points that it picked up as waypoints. And sure enough, they are off the road, but the route continues. However, it went over the unpaved section of road. It hasn't respected the setting in our profile, which is avoid unpaved roads. What happened over at the intersection? Can you see here that the green route went up and around and down and back up? Well, what happened? We'll zoom in on this intersection, and this waypoint is beyond the ramp, the off-ramp, so it went up to the next intersection, down and around, and came back up and around. Then it took the jug handle to continue. So that's a problem. We picked up too many waypoints because this one threw us off and sent us around. So let's look at the other method of manually setting in the number of waypoints we want. So I'll right-click and create route from the track, unchoose the automatic, and let's just put in for 100 points. Okay? It calculates. We'll open that up and we'll rename it route direct 100. So and we'll change this one to cyan. What happened here? There's our 100 points, our 100 waypoints. Next step is to change the profile to motorcycling. And so we have 100 waypoints, but it added some additional hidden points to help draw the path. Let's look at our problem areas. And highlight that route. So what happened here? It went up to the unpaved section, and it went down and around to pick up this waypoint, and then back to continue. So with 100 waypoints, it respected the instruction to avoid unpaved highways. At this point, you have a decision to make. Do I go down the unpaved road, or do I change the route? In any case, you need to carefully inspect the route and adjust it. I suggest you put the route in a list of its own and look at each waypoint. The final step is to inspect the route, put the waypoints on the roads, and change the route however we want to do. It's simple to create a new list and then copy the route that you want to work with into that list, so you don't get confused by the other routes that are in the list. Then open the route, and you want to have center the map checked so that as you proceed down the list, you'll see the waypoints highlighted. And you can go along, and if you find a point that's off the road, you can put it on. That one's okay. Here's one that's way off. So with the Move Point tool selected, grab that waypoint and put it on the road. It'll recalculate each time you do that. And then you can decide what to do about going on the unpaved section or avoiding that and fixing the route so that it goes where you prefer to go. Let's recap the steps to follow in order to use a Google Maps route in BaseCamp. Create your route in Google My Maps. Download the route file in KML format. Import the KML file into BaseCamp. Set the profile to direct. Create the route from the track. Manually enter the number of waypoints. Set the route's profile to motorcycle and inspect everything. I hope you found this video helpful. We covered a lot of territory. Give it a try and come back to this video if you get stuck. Thanks for watching. If you want to support this channel, you can buy me a cup of coffee at buymeacoffee.com or go to the Amazon pages on my website where I have affiliate links to products I use. In any case, I appreciate your support and all the positive comments. I'll see you in the next video.